Hi there, I'm Nadine Blom and I'm an attorney from South Africa, and I completed my master's degree in international law, specializing in human trafficking and child trafficking. We tend to think that when we ensure our children's safety at home and we have alarms and locks trying to keep them safe, that would suffice, but we allow them on their virtual playgrounds, which is their devices. We allow them unregulated unregulated playtime, unregulated sites to visit, and we also allow criminals to have access to our children, unregulated access to our children. And that should make you think, like if your child's on their device, how are you protecting them? Social media has become a playground for human trafficking syndicates because they have unlimited access to potential victims. So one of the forms in which victims are recruited is the Loverboy or the Lovergirl recruitment method, where a lady or a man would romance or build a trust relationship with the potential victim and then gain their trust. Initially it would be in a friendship, and then later on it would become a bit more personal, and then often the perpetrator would gain information from the victim that would put them in a powerful position over the victim. Eventually the perpetrator could send some compromised pictures of themselves to the victim, sexualized pictures, and then also prompt the victim or groom the victim to do the same. And eventually, when the perpetrator has these compromised pictures of the victim, they will then use this to extort the victim into doing what they want the victim to do, whether it be to meet up, or whether it be to take more pictures or more video footage of themselves, and then they threaten the victim to publish these online, and eventually the victim is like clay in their hands. So that's the Loverboy and Lovergirl recruitment method. And then from that often also flows the fact that a perpetrator could set up a meeting with the victim and see the victim for a coffee or whatever, and that's how a lot of abductions also takes place. We can never be guided by our children when it comes to their online presence. We should be the guides. We should be the people who does our research. And when it comes to online gaming, I want to tell parents that if you're going to listen to your child, when your child tells you it's okay to play Fortnite, it's educational, I'm learning skills, I want to place a question mark behind that and ask parents to go and look at what Fortnite is, to go and look at what the psychological effects of these games are on our children, and specifically games such as Fortnite. I want you to go and look at it. I want you to go and do your own research, because we tend to believe whatever we hear and whatever other people tell us, but I'm challenging you today to go and do your own research when it comes to online games and the effects of that on your children. If I can give some tips to parents, please make sure that you download the Google Family Link app on your phone and on your child's device, because with that app you can monitor whatever your child is downloading, the apps they're downloading, who they are chatting with, etc. And you can actually also control your child's screen time with this app. So I would advise for any parent who wants their child to have a device to download the Google Family Link app. I personally feel that it's irresponsible for us as parents of young children to allow them to have devices and we're not monitoring these devices. Stats have shown us that at least 3 out of every 5 children has viewed unwanted pornography or compromised images before the age of 12, which is actually shocking. So as parents, we have a responsibility to monitor our children's devices, especially young children. And it doesn't help that we grab their phones and their devices and say, give me that, I'm going to see what's on there. If we do not have a connection with our children, we don't have a relationship with them, we won't be able to help them, empower them, train them. One of my colleagues, Claudia Red, taught me, she always says connect before correct, and that's something that really goes a long way. When it comes to reporting human trafficking or a missing person, we don't have a waiting period in South Africa. So the moment that you realize someone is missing, please report it to the South African Police Service immediately. Get a case number and then phone the human trafficking hotline if you suspect that there was human trafficking involved, 0800 222 777. Human trafficking has no borders. It does not discriminate. Victims can range anything from the age of a newborn baby to an elderly person. There's just no boundaries. And the reason for this is because people or the human trafficking syndicates, they exploit people for their own for their own purposes, for money, and to sell people's organs, or to harvest their organs, or to film them. A big percentage of the human trafficking victims that I've dealt with and spoken to have been filmed while they are enslaved, while they were raped, while they were strangled. So a lot of the pornography that one would view online would be actual rapes, actual things that are actually done to people and to children. And so human trafficking, pornography is one of the biggest push factors for human trafficking, and that makes it really, really important that we realize that when you view pornography, you cannot think innocently that, oh, you're not hurting anyone. You are actually hurting someone, you just don't know it. South Africa's human trafficking hotline is 0800 222 777, 0800 222 777. If you see something, please say something. You could save a life. Please be vigilant when you are online. Please protect your child online. There is no such thing such as a free lunch. So if someone wants to just buy you an overseas trip, or they want to gift you something, ask yourself the question, why? Because if it seems too good to be true, it is usually too good to be true.